Here's my Honda Trail 90-ish vehicle. Let me tell you what I got here. Hello my friends, and welcome to Tom's Tinkering Adventures. Well, I've got a project that's been in my garage for, and I don't even want to really think how long it's been, but 3, 4, 5 years, and I've been just mess with it here and there, and I just never really get it finished. And that is my Honda Trail 90. Now, a friend of mine had 3 or 4 of these Honda Trail 90s, or his grandpa did. His grandpa passed away, and he passed them on to me, sold me the lot of them, I guess. And the first couple of them were mostly complete, and I got them running and messed around with them for a while. And then this last one is the one that I kept for myself. And it was basically this yellow frame. I think it had a back wheel, and it had an engine that looked like it was full of dirt. So I just kind of threw it behind the garage until I was done with all the other ones. And I had amassed some parts over that time and some knowledge on these things, and figured, well, I'll just make one up for myself to keep for a while. And I guess I've kept it for a while, but boy, I sure haven't done much with it besides pull it out every once in a while and get it going. So we will do that today. We'll get it going here and see if we can't finish some more stuff on it. I actually started working on this thing yesterday and didn't make a video of what I did, which has kind of been the biggest holdup of getting this whole thing done. And that was the foot pegs on it. So let me explain what we have here. The frame, the yellow part, is a 1970 Honda Trail 90. All the red parts that you see on here, so that and the swing arm there, and over here the air box, that is all off of a Honda Trail 110, I believe 1981, along with the back wheel. That's right, the back wheel is off of a Honda Trail 110. The front wheel came with this Honda Trail 90. The front forks are off of a Honda XR or XL100, late 70s model, 77, 78, something like that, I can't remember. All the electronics, electrical system, the headlight, the handlebars with the built-in turn signals, the switch gear, the tail lights, turn signals, and a portion of the rest of the wiring is off of the Trail 110. This engine is out of a Honda 3-wheeler. This is a Honda 125M 3-wheeler, 1983 or 1984 version. As you can see, I have a pull starter. But what it also has is an electric starter right down there. So we have an electric start Trail 90, Trail 125 at this point. The other advantage of the Honda 3-wheeler engine is that it has CDI, which is electronic ignition, so no points. It runs on a 12-volt system, and it still retains the high and the low range, which is kind of one of the little beauties of these Trail 90s. And I adapted over an electric start push button off of, I can't remember what, but I actually mounted that into the original housing, so it's kind of unobtrusive. So the foot pegs was a big deal on this, and I finished those yesterday. Part of the problem with the foot pegs was that this engine is wider, so I was having a heck of a time getting them to mount, but we did get them mounted. As you can see, this shifter is way too long. You can kind of reach it with your toe if you put your heel way out here. So I've marked, and I put just a little bolt in here for right now, but I'm going to get a shifter tip. I actually have one on order. So I'm going to put it there, and then I'm going to cut the end of this off, so it'll be a little bit better. Things that remain to be completed on this are, I need to get the rear rack mounted on here, and we need to get the carburetor cleaned up. And I think that carburetor is something that came with this whole mess. I don't remember what this came from. I think that's off of the 3-wheeler, but it's a knockoff carburetor, so it's not jetted correctly. I finished all the wiring. I spliced the wiring together between Trail 90, Trail 110, and a Honda 3-wheeler. And underneath this mess there is a whole bunch of wiring that's all connected up. And this is the last connection that I didn't finish. I don't remember why I didn't finish this, but that powers the headlight. So I think maybe I was going to consider installing a switch so I could turn the headlight on and off. But we'll just leave it on. And in here's where the original little 6-volt battery went. Now I made this the size to fit this little battery here, YTX5LBS, and that fits in there pretty snugly. But my buddy had this old lithium battery, which is actually a little bit smaller. Unfortunately, this one doesn't hold, it's not holding any power right now. It'll turn on the dash light, but it will not start it. So I will hook up my loaner battery just to show you how the electric start works. And then, let's see, we'll see if we can finish this wiring. We'll just put a connector on here and put that on. I have the plastic piece that goes over that. We'll put that on there. And we will get these mounted up, and we'll see if we can take her for a little spin, because I have honestly only ridden this thing 2 or 3 blocks. All right, there's my little extra battery I got. Unfortunately, that one's too big to fit inside of there, but there we go. Key on. This with the choke on, I believe. I can never remember if this is choke on this way or that way. I know it dies if I go that way, so I'm guessing this is choke on. So it runs pretty good, actually. I haven't touched the carburetor, but I think I'll take it off and clean it up, and we'll see if it's running with the choke on or the choke off. So I'll pull that carburetor off, do a little quick cleanup on it, maybe take a look at what jets are in there and do some research, because like I said, this I know is a knockoff. Looks like it says key in carburetor, but it's not. That's some Chinese knockoff carburetor, which is okay. And also have some stuff that needs to be fixed up on this air box. Like there's a breather hose here that should probably have a cap on it, and then there's the breather out of the engine right there that I should put a hose from there to there, so that we're not sucking dirty air into the system. I'll have to look at how this is all set up. I can't remember. Like I said, I've had this thing a long time. Okay, so we will remove the carburetor and clean that up and see what we've got, and we'll go from there. All right, it doesn't look terrible, but I think that pilot jet looks like it's a little bit clogged up. And you can see here, there's our choke plate. It's closed, so it looks like when we're straight across, that's the choke closed, and then up and down is choke open, which is kind of confusing because I would usually consider where the lever is relative to where the choke plate is, but this one's opposite. So I made this wonderful piece of engineering here out of a piece of plumbing fixture in order to adapt this carburetor and this intake onto the original air box. Otherwise, you could just put a pod filter on there. I just like the way it looks with the original air box. And then also when I was building this thing, I thought, oh, I'm going to take my time and sand everything down and paint it all to match, but I kind of like the fact that everything is kind of a mix and match of different parts and pieces. I don't know. It's just me. Anyway, we'll clean up that pilot jet and the pilot circuit, and I think that's all we're going to have to do. Okay, so up and down is off and back and forth is choke on. So they're cleaned up here. Let's see what we do. Choke is off. Seems to run pretty good. Let's see if it'll start with the pull starter here. That's wonderful. All right, I'm gonna shut it off because I'm kind of smoking me out here. Yeah, I don't know if that's, doesn't smell like oil smoke. No smell-o-vision here, of course. So it's probably running kind of rich. Actually, when I cleaned out that pilot jet, I ran my guitar string through there, and I pushed the bigger one through there. I kind of had to do a little twisty action to get it through, so I probably drilled out that pilot jet a little bit bigger. But if we're running a little bit rich, it's not gonna kill anything, I don't think. While I had the carburetor off, I hooked up this breather hose as well. I'll see if I've got a cap for that one. And let me get this wire hooked up. I'll get these bolts on here, and since it seems like it's running okay right now, I'll just throw that old dead battery in there, and we'll take her for a little spin. Got the rack mounted here. It's kind of a pain, had to drop the shocks. Not too bad. We just put it up on that 2x4, and I was able to reach in there. And while I did that, I noticed that the axle's not straight anyway, so we gotta get that thing centered up. And I don't know if this is how this is supposed to be or not. Oops. It just seems odd that that's just that bolt. It's almost like it should have one on the back side, but I don't think it's gonna fit. We'll figure that out. Cleaned up the wiring and finished it up here. Put this little cover back on. I don't have that bolted in yet because I have to drill holes for that, but it will sit on there just fine because it kind of fits over the key switch. I need to figure something out for that glass. I might just fix that in a later video. I saw in my box of parts that I had a speedometer cable, and then I realized that there is no speedometer cable on here. So we'll install that as well. Oh, and while I was working on it, the brown Santa UPS, actually it was the blue Santa, Amazon, dropped off my shifter tip. I just ordered this last night. I can't believe it's here already. So I think one of these is supposed to be for the brake and one for the shifter. I don't know. We'll use this one here. So that's cool. We can drill out the hole for that shifter. I'll try to countersink it a little bit. I'm not too concerned. We'll put some Loctite on that. Cut the end of that off, make it look pretty. Well, it ain't a work of art, but I think it's gonna be okay. And through there, a little bit of Loctite. Hopefully the Loctite comes out. There we go. Beautiful. Oh, it's factory. Look at that. Oh, snap. All right, that thing looks beautiful. We'll put that on. This shifter looks mint. I got the speedometer cable installed, and I think I remember why I didn't have it installed. These old bikes had a sealed beam headlight, which means that, you had to buy the whole bulb. If you've been around old cars, you've probably seen that. I don't think anything has that anymore. Anyway, they're very expensive for this bike, and I had two broken ones, one 6-volt and one 12-volt one. So in my quest to half-ass things around here, I basically used a hole saw and cut out where the filament was on the broken one, and I took a housing off of a plastic headlight that I had laying around here, some junk, and I made this so I could use a replaceable bulb. All good, all fine and dandy, but it's a bit deeper now, and when I have the connection installed on it that I wired in here, it doesn't fit because it hits the speedometer cable. So I have my choice of having a speedometer cable or a headlight at this point, until I figure out something different. Maybe I can get a different type of a bulb that instead of the prongs coming straight out, they go down. I don't know if they make such a thing. If anyone knows of such a thing or has an idea for me, please let me know. I'd appreciate it, but for now, we're just gonna run it without the headlight. I was hoping I was gonna have everything working, so I gotta figure out that headlight issue, and of course the battery isn't charged, so I need to get a new battery. There we go. Got the side cover on. I forgot to mention this seat. I don't have the correct seat for the bike. This is the back seat off of, I believe, a Yamaha V-Star. And I just kind of jammed it up into the pivot up there. It doesn't quite work as good as the stock seat, but it looks okay. I actually have the front seat for this too, which is like a great big dish cruiser seat, which maybe I'll try to put on there because it would just look kind of funny. I think this battery holds enough charge. Yeah, it holds enough charge to light up the neutral light, but we're going to have to pull start. It's wonderful. Let me push her out in the daylight, and we'll take her for a spin. I turned the idle down a bit. Still, I don't know how well you can see it. We're blowing a little bit of smoke out of here. Maybe it needs a new top end. I don't know. It smells kind of more like gas, but I guess we'll see. Nice thing about these things are they're semi-automatic, so there's no clutch. So I'll be able to drive with just my right hand, hopefully. All right, we're moving. Speedometer's working. Second gear. And we're into neutral. All right. You know what? I think I'll get the GoPro. We'll see if we can get it into fourth gear. Okay. Let's see what happens. Brakes work.
Okay, so far we've had a top speed of about 35. I don't know if I want to go much faster than that. Not shifting incredibly smooth, but then again, I don't know as if I've ever changed the oil in this thing. Let's see if it's smoking still. Looks like it's still smoking a little bit, but maybe it's cleared up. So who knows? I'm gonna do an oil change on it.
I did an oil change on it and a quick rinse off with the hose and a little bit of degreaser stuff to get some of the oil out of this area here. It looks like it might be leaking around the shift shaft seal, and there was a lot of oil around here too, so I don't know if there's a seal under that little indicator, but that's about as far as we're going to go on this thing today. I've got it probably 95% sorted now. I need to figure out that headlight and get a battery in it. Oh, probably make a plug or remove this thing and make a blank off plate. Plug will be the easiest because you just pop it over that, but blank off plate's probably the way to go. We'll figure that out. Oh, and these fuel hoses are in bad shape. This one's not even a fuel hose, it's just some clear plastic hose, and it's all really rigid and crappy. This one's not bad. This one I should replace. Maybe I'll get two clear fuel hoses, or a set of clear fuel hoses so I can see the fuel in there. The tank, I remember, was rusty before. It's probably not good, and that seat is not the best either. Even though it's a place to sit, it slides all over the place, and I mean, it's better than nothing, so it'll work for now. But we're operational. We've got it up into 5th gear. Everything does work. The headlight does work. It just doesn't work in there now. Tail lights, brake lights, turn signals, horn, the electric start, everything does work. Oh, another thing, the rear brake light. So I have a switch up here on the front, right there, for the brake light. If it'll focus, it doesn't look like it will. Now the rear one, there is a mount for the switch here, but I've never seen one going sideways, so who knows what kind of trickery they had in 1970. Maybe there was something attached to the brake rod that's going back there, I don't know. But the wiring for it is up in here, and I have the little brake light switch. I just have to figure out what I'm going to do. Probably going to drill out the spot welds on that, and then turn it facing down and attach it down here somehow. But the brake light works off the front, so we're pretty good. Oh, got my spare fuel can. Yeah. And we've put just under 3 miles on it so far. So far, so good. Okay. Let me know what you think about this thing. if you like the ragtag look of it with the different colors, or if you think I should take it all apart and clean it up and paint it all one color. And let me know what you think I should do with this thing. I have some ideas, but I always like the input from the YouTube familia. Thank you. All right, if you're digging what I'm putting out, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, and if you're not already a subscriber, please consider doing so. Thank you very much for watching. Get out there and find your adventure. Adios.